What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Lobbing Scorchers. We're recording this on Wednesday night ahead of the Seattle Sounders' next match at the Vancouver Whitecaps on Sunday Night Soccer. But the Seattle Sounders have also found themselves embroiled in drama and controversy following a player protest before their last match against Minnesota United as the dispute over the Club World Cup prize money rages on. So we're going to be talking about that as well. Noah, how are you feeling?
I feel like it's been years since we've been in the studio, Ari, but you know what? I'm ready to rock it. This is the most drama-filled, heat-filled podcast we have had in a long time, so we should probably just dive into it.
Yeah, you know, we actually we had the drama section of the season last year with the famous Raul Ruidiaz crash out and Brian Schmetzer dispute. We thought that was drama, but this is drama. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be reviewing Seattle's 3-game homestand that they just completed against Minnesota. We got an agenda check to hit, and we're going to preview this match against the Vancouver Whitecaps, who have been the best team in MLS all season, but just played in the CONCACAF Champions final in their Champions Cup final in their last match. Didn't go that well.
No,
did not go that well. Famously, did not go as well as it did when the Seattle Sounders played in the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. But you know, they could be out for revenge. So we'll see what happens. We're going to get into all of that right now. But before we do get into all that, I do have to let you all know that Lobbing Scorchers is a part of the Sounder at Heart podcast network. If you want to get the best independent Seattle soccer coverage, consider supporting us by going to sounderatheart.com/LS. Noah, what's that link?
Sounderatheart.com/LS.
Scroll down to subscribe and support to get 30 days completely free. Every sign up through our link helps support and grow this show. I believe the road to 100 Sounder at Heart subs is still alive and well.
We're taking bites of the apple, as Ari would
slowly
like to
but
say.
surely working our way up towards triple digits. Do we have any new Sounder at Heart subs?
We have 2. All right.
Okay, we take 2.
Blaze Sinclair and Elizabeth Peters. Thank you for becoming number 91 and 92. We're on the road.
Blaze and Elizabeth, thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it. And thank you to all our Sounder at Heart subs. Subscribers also now get access to the audio-only versions of our live shows, which are a lot of fun, right to your podcast feed. So that's a perk. And shout out to our sponsors, Hacks and Ferments, Podium Menswear, Full Pull Wines, My Data Removal, Body Spec. Follow us on all social medias, including our Instagram, which has been kind of popping lately. We're nearing, I think we're at credibility. No, I've set the credibility benchmark on Instagram to 500. We're past that, but now we're on the road to 1,000. Give me 1K on Instagram. I'd appreciate that. And also, this is the more exciting one. We are on the road to 2,000 YouTube subscribers.
Yeah, we are.
We're
really close.
We're closing in. So if you're listening to this or watching on YouTube and you haven't subbed to the channel, just sub to the channel.
Just sub to the channel.
Push us towards that 2K. That's going to be an exciting milestone for us.
The grind doesn't stop. The grind doesn't stop.
The grind don't stop.
The grind don't stop.
All right, Noah, let's talk about this protest. We talked about it. We talked about it on the post-game live in the aftermath, and Nico and I talked about it quite extensively on Lobbing Scorchers kickoff. But you know, Noah, I've been waiting to formulate my full and kind of final take on this. You know, when it first happened, I didn't want to be reactionary, and I didn't want to get up there and start dishing takes before I felt like I had a full handle on the situation. And after giving it some time, marinating on it for a few days, I think I'm ready to dish my full take on this protest. But before we get into it, let's just do a brief nutshell of what happened for anyone who might not be up to speed, and just to lay down the context of what's going on. So I'm gonna do that real quick first, and we're gonna dish our takes on where things stand. Does that sound good?
I love that.
All right. So I'm sure most of you saw it. Everyone across MLS saw it. But before this last weekend's match against Minnesota United at Lumen Field, the Seattle Sounders took the field for pregame warmups with pretty funny shirts. I'm not going to lie, that said Club World Cash Grab on them, with a little dollar sign in the word cash. And then it had the Monopoly guy on it, and he was wearing an MLS hat, and he had like a FIFA logo on his shirt.
Yep.
So this is, of course, related to the ongoing dispute that the Seattle Sounders the players have been involved in regarding the prize money for the Club World Cup. There's a clause in the CBA that caps the amount of money that MLS players can make from any tournament at $1 million to divide among themselves. But the Club World Cup came along and has way more prize money, it turns out, than any tournament any MLS club has ever played in.
Any tournament ever.
Any tournament
For
ever.
$1 billion.
$1 billion prize pool by orders of magnitude. Needless to say, that changed the financial calculation a little bit. And under that clause, the $1 million, the players divide that all up. Every club in the Club World Cup gets $9.55 million for participating. So with the rest of that money going to the organization and not the players, you effectively have a 90-10 split on what goes to the team and what the players can divide among themselves. So the players looked at the 90-10 split and they said, that doesn't seem very equitable. I think that might be a little unfair. So they voiced these concerns a couple weeks ago. Jada Evans in the Seattle Times had a big write-up about it. And nothing got done. Apparently there was no movement. With the tournament closing in, the Seattle Sounders players chose a bit of a nuclear option, went out there wearing the shirts, made their thoughts on the matter even more clear to try and get a dialogue going. They spoke after the game about it and expressed that they were frustrated that they couldn't get a dialogue on this topic going, and that this was their way of making a statement that they are to be taken seriously and not be ignored on this topic. Adrian Hanauer, Sounders majority owner, reportedly did not take too kindly to this. According to multiple sources, as reported by Sounder at Heart and Tom Bogert of Gimme Sport, Adrian Hanauer gave the team a bit of a verbal lashing in the locker room post-game that included some profane language. He wasn't happy. So it seems as though tensions between the players and owner are a little hot right now because of all that. But as things stand right now, Jeremiah O'Shan of Sounder at Heart had an update today. He said there are signs that an offer could arrive as soon as Thursday, with indications that the league understands the importance of further incentivizing the players by giving them a percentage of the performance bonuses along with the money they're already guaranteed. So it does sound like, as we record this tonight, there has been progress on this front. That's more progress than I've heard about to this point, at least an acknowledgement of the issue, and that an offer is supposed to be made. But Noah, let's just give our thoughts on this whole situation in general. It's obviously the biggest story hanging around the club right now. Christian Roldan freely said that this has been a distraction for the players. They want to be focusing on the league games they've been playing. They want to be focusing on this tournament where they're going to be playing the likes of Atletico Madrid, PSG, and Botafogo. But that this issue has not allowed them to fully do that, and that they need to get it resolved. So, Noah, I guess do you want to give your take on where things stand, or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. And I think to add just a tad bit more background in this story that Jeremiah put out today in his training notes. Again, this is the kind of stuff that we only find out, this type of information, because of Jeremiah and because of Sounder at Heart. So you really should go subscribe at sounderatheart.com/LS. Genuinely does incredible work, helps us do what we do. But This was another segment from his article, which was representatives from both the league and the MLS Players Association confirmed that the two sides have been at least discussing these concerns for months. That's months with an S. So multiple months this has been a conversation. The MLSPA insists that league negotiators have been promising a final proposal was, quote, imminent for nearly as long. So they have been saying, oh no, we'll get it sorted out for multiple months. The league apparently felt as though they were still assessing exactly what the players wanted. So on one hand, you have the union trying to get a better deal for their players, and the league saying, oh, well, we just don't really know what they want. So is it miscommunication? Is it a bunch of like classic kind of corporate greed? Is it a little bit of both? I think that we are intelligent individuals, and we can all pick sides while also understanding how this may have come to be, right? So for me, where I see it is like, I think the players are very justified in their frustrations, regardless of if the MLSPA accepted a deal or not. And here's why. The players are not always going to get everything that they want in a CBA. And that's just the truth, right? Like you can complain and bitch and moan and do whatever you want, but there's a give and take in these negotiations, and the PA tries to do the best they can to get the best deal for these players. But while yes, when I was talking to Jeremiah the other day, he was like, it's interesting because this tournament has been a thought for at least as long as this CBA has been around, because this wasn't ratified in 2020. This was ratified like 13 or 14 months ago. So while it was created then, it was finalized not as long ago as we may have thought, right? I just think there's so many layers to this, but at the end of the day, I feel for the players. I think the Players Association could not have imagined that there would be $1 billion prize pool, and they probably negotiated on this without the knowledge that that was going to even be in existence. And then for the league, I can understand that they're like, yeah, I would like to keep all of the money, or the teams being like, we would like to keep more money. So I think if this does progress with a incentive to give them performance bonuses, I think that's great. But I also do think that they should probably be making more just baseline, considering this group of players earned the right to be here. This isn't like Inter Miami or LAFC. I mean, you can argue with LAFC, they earned it, but this team earned this. And 50% of the players, I feel like, that were on that CCL winning team are here. They're playing on this team still. And so those specific players earned their spot to be here. And I think that they should be getting a way bigger slice of the pie, regardless of what their contract says. And I think that Adrian should be incredibly embarrassed at the way that he acted. I think it was emotional and childish. And I understand that, people can get frustrated, especially when they're really passionate about something. That's literally our entire show. But when you are having the same demeanor as some social media guys, that's a problem. You're running a multi-billion-dollar business, okay? A multi-million-dollar business. I don't know what the Sounders are worth, but getting close to that.
Yeah, I think that's like 700 million.
Yeah, like you cannot have the temperament of someone like that. I'm sorry. That's unacceptable. And I think that there has already been concerns about Adrian's leadership in the majority owner role. Maybe people will say, he's cheap and all of this and that. I'm taking that aside. I'm just talking specifically about leadership, okay? There's been questions about that. This is a big time for this club. You're moving into modern football even more and more every single year. MLS gets better and better. I think that looks really bad on him going forward. So boiling all of that down, I feel like this just sucks on all fronts. And I don't think that, and I don't know what happened, but clearly the negotiations that went on for months were bad. And I think the more information we get about that will help us get a little bit more in the weeds with that. But I just feel bad for the players. I don't really give a shit about the riffraff and all of the other stuff. These players deserve to be paid and compensated for playing these matches, and they shouldn't have to get to the point where they feel that they have to individually take on the responsibility of wearing these shirts and then getting yelled at. If I was berated at work like that, regardless of how much I made, by my owner because I was asking for a little bit more money, I would quit. I would quit my job. And so I don't understand why that kind of abuse from an owner is okay in this context when it would not fly in any other job context.
All right. Yeah,
that was very scatterbrained, but I think the whole thing is very scatterbrained.
All right. I'll get
now
my
I need Ari's dish. He's gonna go. I think these players should shut up, kick the ball.
All right. Here's where I stand on this. There are two lenses through which to look at this situation. There's the basic fairness and equity lens, and then there is like the technical legal lens. If we're talking about purely the fairness and equity lens, I don't see any other conclusion other than that the players are in the right on that. And I don't even think that that's up for debate. When you're talking about 90-10,
that's crazy.
What are we talking about? Like there's no situation where 90-10 makes sense, especially in a situation like this where we're talking about the players are the ones who are actually playing the game. They're the reason that that this club is in the Club World Cup.
Well, I heard that Adrian wasn't signing U22 because he wanted to put himself on that slot.
The 90-10 split is fundamentally doesn't make sense. I think Stefan Fry talked about that after the game, and he was pointing out that say they did make a deep run into the tournament and the prize money gets greater and greater and greater to an almost staggering amount.
$7 million if they advance.
Yeah. And they would still be capped at the $1 million to divide among themselves, no matter how far they made it in the tournament. I don't think anyone would argue that that makes sense at all. I don't think you can argue that that makes sense at all. The counter argument that, as to the extent I understand it, is that the PA negotiated this in the CBA. And so it's effectively, even if they didn't expect this tournament or whatever the rationale might be, it's a bet that they made by making a bad deal, and that whether the players like it or not, they are beholden to that on a legal front, which I understand that. That's true. Legally, on the technicality of it, they don't have leverage to ask for a bigger share of the money. But to me, it's actually a situation that has a relatively simple solution, which is that, I mean, if you just look at it from a common sense perspective of everyone agrees, I think that 90-10 isn't a fair split in this situation. So to me, even if you have a technicality in the CBA that stipulates that the $1 million cap goes through all tournaments, based on the circumstances, why can't you just renegotiate that to make it more fair? We got a YouTube comment that I thought kind of sized up a lot of the counter arguments that we've been getting. So I wanted to read it and then just address what I think is wrong with it, so I'm going to just read this comment from someone that said, "Seems to me, unfortunately, the players signed a contract with a crappy clause. You don't get to demand the other party come to the table to renegotiate an executed contract just because you now decide it doesn't favor your needs." All right. Can I ask a serious question though? Can I ask a serious question?
Yeah.
Why? Like, why can't you go back, realize that the initial agreement doesn't make sense as it pertains to unforeseen circumstances, and then just like change it based on that? There's no inherent reason why they can't just do that. Other than that, and if you're arguing against that, you're arguing on the legal technicality, which is just capping for the corporate oligarchy.
If you buy a house and it's under contract and you find something that wasn't disclosed, or something new happens, or there's some sort of issue during that period, guess what? You can change that. Things can be changed. Things can move around when new information comes to light.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Anyone who truly believes that either of these parties, or specifically Major League Soccer PA, could have had any insight into what the Club World Cup prize pool was, I'd love to see that, because there's no shot that anyone had any idea when this was originally being negotiated what this prize pool was going to be. We didn't even know what the clubs were going to take home until like a month ago. There was speculation of the Sounders are getting $50 billion. The Sounders are getting $100 million. And then guess what? They got 9.55. I don't really understand how any of that could have been foreseen. And so at that point, sure, absolutely, right? Like, if it's X's and O's, they don't have any leverage, other than they do have leverage because they could just say, fuck you, we're not playing. Will they do that? Probably not.
Well, okay, so that goes to I think the next interesting question, because what I think is so interesting about this situation, Noah, is that the issue of a corporation like this being structured in such a way that the executives at the top, the CEOs, the VPs, the owners, whatever the case may be, they get pretty much all the money, the lion's share of the money. And then the people who are doing the actual work get paid barely anything, and they do all the work that gets those people paid all this money. That's nothing new. No. That's every corporation, and there's been labor disputes.
That's what I do to Ari.
There's been labor disputes in all kinds of companies throughout history. It happens all the time. But the thing is, and I've experienced this myself, when you're the worker in that situation for a big corporation like that, and you ask for raises or you point out that you're being paid unfairly, you get ignored. Yeah. Just like they were trying to ignore the Sounders players. The executives and the corporate fat cats, they don't give a shit if you think that what you're getting is unfair for the labor that you're putting in. All they care about is their own bottom line, and they're going to try and maximize that as much as possible. And the actual worker has pretty much no leverage. If they go and they say this is unfair, and if you don't give me a raise, I'm going to quit, you know what they say? All right, go ahead and quit. Like, we'll find someone else who will fill that job. Like, we don't care. You have no leverage. We're going to just pay you what we pay you. And like, if you think it's unfair, then get wrecked, buddy. That's basically how these things usually work. But what I think is interesting about this is, like, when you're a professional athlete, I think that the calculation changes a little bit. You actually do have leverage. You have the fact that you're the ones who are playing the games, and if you don't do that, there's no money for the executives. And then you also have the leverage that public opinion, when it comes to who a fan base is going to side with in a dispute between the athletes and the owner, they're going to side with the athletes.
No one gives a fuck about Adrian Hanauer.
They love, or any owner. It's not even just about Hanauer. People
famously boo commissioners and owners and shit. That's like that's like a bit.
And so I think what the Sounders players clearly realized in this situation is that we're getting screwed here. We're voicing our displeasure about it, but clearly it's not getting taken seriously, and they're just going to ignore us, and we're going to end up getting paid way beneath the amount that is like the global standard for a tournament like this, and they're not going to do anything to change it. Well, guess what? We actually do have leverage here. We actually have ground to stand on. We're going to go out there in our Monopoly Guy shirts, and we're going to make that statement that we are to be taken seriously on this. And then if it's still not taken seriously past that, I guess we'll see what happens. But you're not going to just ignore us. You're not going to just say you're going to take your pennies on the dollar and be happy with it. We're gonna make sure that we negotiate on this and that this is dealt with and this is taken care of. So I actually think the way that they realized that they had that leverage and are now using it to try and get an outcome that is, I think we all agree, would be more fair than a 90-10 split, which the more I say that, the more I'm just like,
it's crazy.
I don't even know what we're talking about. I think they're...
Why doesn't Adrian come out and say what he's going to do with that 90%? Why don't they come out and say, listen, we understand where the players are. This is totally understandable. This is exactly how we're going to use that 90% to benefit not only the players, but the club and club of the future. The PR has been a fucking nightmare, Ari. Like, even if you just look at it from that perspective, what do you think is going to happen when you have your players wearing these shirts and then you go berate them in the locker room? You don't think that's going to come out? You don't think that's going to come out? That's going to come out every single time, 100% of the time. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
I think though that like it shouldn't. It doesn't even necessarily have to be on the club to give the players like a larger percentage of the 9.55 million. That's what they should do in that situation because that's all the money they're getting. I think FIFA FIFA has more money than like any corporation on earth practically. I mean, yeah, but
they're already...
They should just why don't they just give more money okay, so like what's the problem?
The problem because FIFA is allowing whatever the clubs to decide how that gets dispersed. So like for Real Madrid, if they win the tournament, every player gets $1 million. If they win the tournament, every player gets $1 million. That's what they decided. And then there's a base level payment that they're making to every single player because all of their players, have game checks as well and all of that. But because Major League Soccer has this collective bargaining agreement, they're like, no, this is what you're abiding by. Which I also think is insane. Like, there's got to be a way to get around it. And it's like, so that's where I say, yes, absolutely, the league is like shitty for. But I'm going to be honest with you. If, again, people brought this up in our post-game live, they could create a trust for every single player and over 10 years pay them out more money. There's infinite ways that you could give these players this money legally within salary cap rules, within all of that, to find a way to get them more money. But it's the club at the end of the day that has no interest in siding with their players. That's my problem. I knew MLS was greedy. We've always known that. They're anti-union. They always have been. They tried to shut down the referees union. They've tried to shut down the players union at times. They do not want to share their money. That's the whole point of them. That's the whole point of that building. And they got a building in New York. They're like, we're big guys,
Yeah, and that is.
But it
doesn't shock me because that's just that's how every corporation works,
right? And
they don't really care about fairness as it relates to, like I said, the people who are actually doing the work and not just like sitting in their offices doing. Who even knows
jack
what?
Shit. They're not doing shit. They're doing jack
probably nothing and just getting paid boatloads of money for it. So
that's why I'm mad at the Sounders more though, because it's like you as an organization chose to react in the way that you did, knowing full well, because I'm sorry, the fact that Adrian's pretending that he had no clue that this was going on is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, so wait, okay, let's talk about that because
that's bullshit.
He apparently part of what he was admonishing the players for was that he felt like they didn't communicate enough with him. He felt like they didn't come to him with the concerns before they went to the protest. I mean, I don't really know what we're talking about with that because Albert Rusnak brought this up at practice like a month ago. Then it's been reported in the Seattle Times. So even if they didn't come to him directly, Christian Roldan even said at practice today, perhaps, we could have been more communicative in that regard. But this issue has been out there. And
you don't tell your boss about a protest against your boss.
But he was saying that they should have come to him with the issue of the equity and payment, like more so than
they've been working on it for multiple months.
It's been out there.
If the PA and MLS both acknowledge that they have been working on a deal for multiple months, there is no way that the majority owner of one of the largest teams and a team involved in this would have no fucking clue what's going on. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. He is lying. He's lying. There's no way.
I think it might be a little more gray area than that because, like I said, Christian even acknowledged that today. He said, like, when he was asked about that, he thought about it and he was like, I mean, yeah, maybe we could have handled that slightly differently. But then he did also point out what I just pointed out, which is that, like, we've been talking about this for a while.
Yeah, it's not
the idea that it's an issue that would have like blindsided Hanauer. I mean,
What more could an owner of a soccer team need to focus on than legitimately a payment grievance about the biggest tournament that he's ever going to play in? Would that not be something that you would think that would be tuned in? Like, either you are inept at your job and the people around you don't know what they're doing to tell you that. And I don't want to believe that because I know that there are a ton of really talented people working at the Sounders.
Well, and there's not their track record doesn't suggest ineptitude.
That is, yeah. And I think that's also talking about track record too. This doesn't feel like my club. This doesn't feel like the club that I grew up with where players loved this place and wanted to play here and would take pay cuts to play here because they understood that, yes, while maybe finances were tight, they would be treated with respect and they would be honored in that way. This is just, why would here's my thing too. If I'm Ryan Kent and I just saw this whole shit show go down, I'm out, dude. I'm out at the end of my contract. Why the fuck would I want to be talked to like that? By some fucking frame salesman? By some fucking frame salesman? You kidding me? That dude doesn't know how to do a fucking Rabona. That dude doesn't know how to do a whatever. Like, he can't dribble a defender. Like, I'm like, dude, don't talk to me like I'm a child. Don't yell at me. I'm serious. If my boss came into a meeting like that, I'm getting fired. I'm getting fired.
Well, it's different than like a normal
It's
job,
not, though.
though.
It's not. It is not.
It is.
It's not.
Being a professional... Well, okay, like it's not in the terms of like how you should treat people on an interpersonal level. It's not different from that respect, but it is different from the perspective of like when you're on a team, a professional sports team, like quitting over your boss yelling at you. Like you're not like athletes just don't do that. They're not going to like
Brian
quit
Kent
on the team over a
I guess
labor
not directly.
dispute. Yeah.
He got pushed off because he had disputes with the coach and then eventually left the team.
Yeah, but like do you really think anyone in that locker room would ever stand up and be like, I quit because of that?
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that when it comes up to renew your contract, you're going to remember
that's a different question.
Sure,
yeah.
But it's like that is dumb. That's stupid business. And honestly, like, if it was like an Amazon warehouse and a bunch of people came into work wearing a t-shirt that said like, pay us better. We don't want to pee in bottles anymore. And Jeff Bezos came down and looked at all of those people in the eyes and said, I fucking hate you. Why the fuck would you wear a t-shirt? You're a piece of shit. You're so disrespectful to this organization. You'd be like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I make 1/100th of you. Because the truth is, Ari, yes, some of these players are incredibly wealthy. Some of these players have made good money in their career. Some absolutely have not. But the reality is none of them will ever touch the wealth of what Adrian Hanauer has. And so For them to be doing all of that, making him a shit ton of money, and then him coming in and acting like a fucking child, it makes me so angry. It makes me so angry. It just makes me angry.
The Hanauer crash out, I guess I'm not as passionate about that as you. I just think it's funny when members of the corporate oligarchy act like aggrieved and shocked that their workers like want to be paid commiserately for the labor that they're putting in. It doesn't surprise me that he flew off the handle a little bit, like just based on what I know about how like executives and CEOs are wired. It doesn't surprise me, but like I said, I don't understand where the shock is coming from that the players would be upset enough about this to protest it publicly like they did. It's a 90-10 split. It's 90-10. Like there's just no way that like that the 90-10 split got caused by something that, yes, was technically agreed upon in the CBA. I get that. So you don't even need to point that out, but it's created a situation that any objective outside observer can see is blatantly unfair. Christian was asked at practice as well, like, well, what is it exactly that you guys are looking for? And it felt like whoever the reporter was, I didn't recognize the voice. It felt like he was almost asking Christian that to try and trip him up. Like,
yeah,
okay,
it did sound like that.
It didn't sound like that. He's like,
yeah.
So what is it? What is it that you're looking for exactly? Like, what is it? And Christian was like, we've looked at what the normal like rates and numbers are for tournaments like this globally around the world. The standard, I think.
Yeah,
we looked
standard.
at what the normal standard is around the world, and we compared it, and we just want the normal standard. Yeah. That's it. What doesn't make sense about that? Like, honestly, like I'm trying
nothing.
to
Nothing. It doesn't. And if you're even looking at the CBA itself, MLS clearly agrees that 50% of a prize pool is a fair and equitable measure to give to players, because it's 50% of a tournament prize pot up to $1 million. So they truly do believe that, okay, if you win a tournament, you should totally be able to give the players 50% of the prize pot. But they put that $1 million stipulation in there. But there's never been a tournament where they've played in. I think if you win Champions Cup, I think you get like $4 million, right? So that would be 25%. You would get 25%-ish, right? So even then, that's still an insanely better deal. And it's so clear to me that they know that because it's in the CBA. 50% up to $1 million. So give them 50% up to like $5 million. Or like give them $4 million.
I don't know what the standard is exactly that Christian was referring to, but I think it makes sense to just give them that or in the ballpark of that, and they probably will be perfectly happy. It's one of those situations where, and then we can wrap it up and move on, but it's one of those situations that seems like super complicated, but I feel like when you actually just break it down, it's really not that complicated. You have a situation where the CBA, as it was agreed upon, created an unfair split based on a tournament with a record-breaking, unanticipated, unprecedented amount of prize money. And so whatever you need to do to just address that, if it's ratifying the CBA or if it's just the funds like you were talking about, whatever it is, but just whatever
or
you
one-time
do
exception,
to rectify that so that the players are getting paid a fair amount, like reflective of the normal global standard for a tournament like this. Just do what you have to do to get them that amount of money and call it a day. You don't need like a long drawn out, ugly, like brutal negotiation like this. Like it's pretty clear cut in my opinion. And I hope they get all of what they're asking for. Like I think, and I don't just feel this way about the Sounders players, but I hope they get they get it for any labor dispute out there where pretty much workers get screwed on this stuff all the time, every single day in all kinds of companies.
It was funny though,
I hope that in a situation where they realize they actually do have the leverage to get a fair outcome, like I'm glad that they're using it, and I hope they get the outcome that is merited and that is fair.
It was funny. Some of the like $40K a year like solar salesman guys on Twitter were like, dude, like just like that's just what you get, bro. Like don't agree to something shitty. It's like, why are you like standing in front of a water hose for this dude who's worth multiple millions of dollars, or a league that's worth billions of dollars? Like why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?
If your argument, like this is the last thing I'll say, is that if your argument, like your counter argument, is hedged on the technicality of the CBA, I think that's lame as hell.
Yeah,
and
it's important to understand it.
Yeah,
but if that's
I
your
think, like,
take,
it's just not like a lot of people have been using that as like supposed slam dunk argument.
Yeah.
It's not a good argument.
It's not.
The legal technicality. It is true. But it's not a good argument when we're talking about, like I said,
equity,
like basic fairness and equity. Like that's what it's really about.
Yeah. Plus the shirts were sick as fuck. So
they were funny.
They were cool.
They were funny. They were well made. So
I would
wear one.
I do have one question before we leave the Club World Cup topic as a whole. You know what? Actually, I'm going to save it for the bonus episode because I think we could go a little bit on this, but I'm going to share it with you guys. So if you want to become a YouTube member, you can watch us talk about this topic. Ari, in general, this has been kind of a shit show of a Club World Cup.
It hasn't even started.
And it hasn't even started. We can pontificate more on how we think it's going to go, what the crowds are going to look like, and how this all is going to... When the dust settles, we're going to look back on this. We'll talk about that in the post-game bonus episode. Post-game. Yeah, post-game. This is a game right now. We're playing a game, but hit join down below to become a YouTube member, or the first link in our description helps support. You get cool emotes, all that fun stuff. So that's
all right.
that.
We're going to take an ad break, and then we're going to come back and review Seattle's 3-game homestand. We'll be right back.
Want to go deeper with Lobbing Scorchers? You know, scratch under the surface, get down even dirtier than we already get. Become a YouTube member. Sometimes things just get a little too spicy, a little too weird, and a little too loose for the general public. And, you know, the people to see that are YouTube members. We're talking about exclusive bonus videos, the podcast after show, exclusive written content, and little bits and pieces of information before the unwashed masses know about it. As a member, you not only get access to all of this amazing content, you get a badge next to your name and a slew of amazing emotes to use, not only in our live stream chat, but also in our comments section. And yes, we do have an emote for Jesus Ferreira, Go Snack, and Paul Rothrock. This is the best way to help keep us independent and keep us building out this crazy YouTube brand that we call Lobbing Scorchers. Hit the join button down below, or hit the link in the top of our description if you're on mobile to join the ranks and become a Lobbing Scorchers YouTube member.
If you skip the ads... We know you skip the ads. Don't skip the ads.
It's hot outside, Ari. I know that people are leaving their windows open right now. Just be careful, because if I watch you skip your ads, I'm crawling in. I'm crawling in, all right?
All right. No, do you want to talk about some actual soccer?
I mean, yeah, we can do that.
Fun.
That's
all
cool.
Right.
Yeah, why not?
So the way I figured, we can't really do like a conventional game review because
we got behind.
It's been a minute since we've like laid down one of these formal podcasts.
Yeah.
So we've got a full 3-game homestand to review, and I figure we can kind of just give our takes on the homestand as a whole, and if there was anything that happened within the specific games, we can talk about that as well. But let's talk about this. It was a 2-0-1 homestand for the Seattle Sounders. 2 1-0 wins, starting with a 1-0 over FC Dallas, then a 1-0 over San Diego FC, and then with a chance to make it a 3-0 against Minnesota United, one of the top teams in the West. The Sounders took an L in their last game, 3-2 at Lumen Field. So again, a 2-0-1 homestand. No, I guess here you can start it off. Like, how did this homestand end up going relative to how you thought or hoped it would go before they jumped into it?
I mean, I would have hoped for 9 points, but that said, I think I was going to be happy with 6 or 7. I was hoping for a minimum of 7, but I think that 6 is arguably a pretty good result. I think that's probably what I would have thought going into this.
Yeah, I was hoping. I said 2-0-1. I meant 2-1-0.
Yeah,
So,
I know. Yeah.
So I was hoping for a 2-0-1, assuming that the 3-0-0 is off the table. Obviously, like, you want to get the 3-0-0, but with the knowledge that that's not necessarily the most likely outcome, I was hoping for the 2-0-1. They get the 2-1-0, and I think I think I want to give them credit for getting the 2 1-0s. The one over FC Dallas we called it an ugly win, and I think that was accurate, but I didn't mind seeing an ugly win. I think MLS, as much as any league, you have to be able to get ugly wins. So I was actually actively encouraged to see them win a game in that manner, given where they were at with personnel and all the guys that they had missing. There's been more injuries lately. Kim Ki-hee is now out as well. John Bell and Stu Hawks have been getting a lot of run at CB, which it's been great to see Stu Hawks finally getting in there, holding his own in MLS. But I really liked the 1-0 over San Diego FC for a couple reasons, Noah. Number one, San Diego FC has been one of the best teams in the league, and I think that we saw that in that game.
Yeah.
Mikey Varas has got it going on with that team. That was a really impressive road performance by them, and I think it's fair to say that they outplayed Seattle on the whole in that game. But again, it's similar to the Dallas game. Like, you have to be able to win games where you get outplayed sometimes. And when you're playing the elite teams in this league, sometimes you're not necessarily going to outplay them, and there's going to be stretches of the game where you're under pressure, or in this case, San Diego FC was so good in possession that Seattle had a hard time just like keeping the ball for sustained periods of times, getting like good fluid attacks together. That all was true in this game, and San Diego FC played really well and put on about as good a road performance as you can for a visiting team at Lumen Field, and Seattle still won the game. So I think that in itself was encouraging. And then also the Jesus Ferreira game winner in the San Diego game was great to see. We'll talk about it in agenda check, but Jesus Ferreira got his first Seattle Sounders goal. He missed the Minnesota game because he's having a baby. Congratulations to him on that. But he got the start at the 9 against San Diego and got the game-winning goal. That was a really nice goal with a Paul Rothrock assist. So
As God intended.
yeah, I think these first 2 games were, again, like the FC Dallas one wasn't super pretty, and the San Diego FC one was a hard-fought, competitive game. But I was not super pressed about the fact that they didn't win those more convincingly, like considering the injury situation, and then with San Diego, the level of competition was very high, and you still got that win. But it did end in disappointment with this 3-2 loss against the Loons. So I guess we can talk about what went wrong there, which we did on the post-game coverage and all that. But to me, that game was that was on the defense.
Yeah.
Like, there was all of Minnesota's goals came on defensive breakdowns that really, like, the type of which you can't really have and expect to beat a good team like that. And again, like, they played two of the top 2 teams, 2 of the top teams in the West these last 2 games. So it was a good measuring stick type of stretch for them. and they passed one test against San Diego. But the Loons game, it got away from them defensively. I thought they played well enough in attack to not lose that game.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes the talking points, I'm not sure that I follow them. A lot of people were talking about how boring and awful and like the 2024 Sounders that Minnesota game looked. I mean, they scored 2 goals in the game.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
one was an own goal. But
okay, that's probably why one of them doesn't count because it was an own goal. But to me, that attacking performance, it wasn't like as electric as you would like to see in a home game. But when you're playing a team like Minnesota United, they're not always going to let you do that. They're very well organized, like good defensive team. So I thought the disappointing thing about that game was the defensive breakdowns. I mean, I know you've got a lot of center back injuries, but the penalty that they gave away in that game, I didn't think needed to happen. And then I thought
that was silly. And that was really bad.
And I thought the killer in that game was conceding the third after the KKR goal cut it to 2-1. After the KKR goal, I was feeling like, I mean, there's so much time.
We were sitting in the press box like, dude, like, there's time. We're
this
good.
This is they needed that. And now it's anyone's game again. And they conceded the third on another defensive breakdown. So really, like, I think that was the most disappointing thing for me closing out that homestand. But I guess if there's a reason for hope on that front, I do think it was the type of stuff that's theoretically like correctable.
Right.
Like, you don't, and for me, this team, they're pretty reliable defensively for the most part. Although this season has been a little more hit or miss on that side of the ball. So that is the number one thing, at least I want to see in this Whitecaps game, is getting that shored up and not seeing breakdowns like that. And then hopefully getting Ryan Kent back going.
Yeah.
And hopefully having Pedro de la Vega build off what I think was a good game against Minnesota. He got the on the stat sheet with that nice assist to KKR.
That was a great like dual, like both of them combining on that play was so nice.
Yeah, and KKR was another bright spot in that game. So I think there were some positives from the Minnesota game, even despite the L. But that was a bit of a vibe detractor to end the homestand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. This was a long stretch of games with like very different outcomes, I think, on each game. Like, I think they just the wheels kind of fell off on the Minnesota game defensively, but that's almost predictable considering what the personnel was down to. I don't think Jackson Reagan played well. I don't understand.
It was his first game back.
Yeah, but I understand the you've got to put him in the game. You have to get him healthy again. You have to get him more reps and minutes. So it's like, what are you going to do?
And you have Kim Keehee injured as well. So
right.
It's like you're a little bit under it in that situation. But yeah, I mean, I didn't think he was at his sharpest in his first game back. They were also doing the kind of weird thing where he was, didn't it feel like he was playing like right back a lot? I thought that
was so dumb, like weird and dumb. He was playing like a wing back.
I think there was some intent behind that.
I think that Brian said that they like put him there for some reason, but I don't remember.
Yeah,
why.
there was some reason behind it. It led to a couple of kind of comedic sequences.
Oh my God.
Where he was like attacking from out wide, like he was Alex Roldan or Pedro de la Vega or something. It was a good bit. Just Jackson Reagan, all 6'6" of him, lumbering into the primary assist.
Well, that was part of it. Is like he turned over the ball to the Loons on one of those attacks, and then they built up that counterattack out of it. And the Sounders were already stretched in the back because of that. And so I think maybe I'm completely misremembering this because this game was a total shit show from me being like dealing with all of the protest stuff. But I was like, what the hell? Like that was
That was kind of weird. Not sure I want to see that again, but I guess it was good to get Jackson Reagan back, especially with the timing with the Kim Ki-hee injury. Yamar is still a little ways out.
But good news, Jordan Morris, full practice participant.
Jordan Morris, full practice participant. Schmetz said that he is theoretically in line to at least, I think, feature some against Vancouver, right? With the idea.
Please don't play him.
With the idea.
I'm scared.
I mean, what, like, you can't not, like, never play him again.
No, I know. Just like, I don't know.
Just like a little 60-minute or
just like a little 20.
You want to give him 20?
Yeah, give him 20. Give him the day row. Give him the day row. Give him 7. I don't know. I don't want him to get hurt again.
Yeah, but I mean, like, him playing the sport again, inherently, there's a chance.
Yeah,
that
you're
could,
right. You're right. You're right.
But we'll see. I hope he gets as much. It is. I understand where you're coming from the standpoint of like last time they brought him back, he was just
they
charging,
just ran him.
He was just charging super hard and then immediately yanked his hammy again. Hopefully this time they've established the timetable as such, so that's not as much of a risk at happening again. You can pull your hamstring playing soccer at any time.
In fact, it does happen.
It does happen.
Happens to the best of them.
It does happen, but I'm hoping that he's like 60 fit for this game. But if it's more like, do we know what Moose's status is?
I think he's good.
Moose is good, so I would hope. My hope, I think, would be that they start Moose for this game and then give Jordan the last 30, 35, whatever, however fit that they think he is. But it's just good that he is he's ready to start playing again, and that
you don't want to see Jesus Ferreira.
You should be able to feature at the Club World Cup. I actually all right. That's a good segue. Let's get into the agenda check. Talk some Jesus Ferreira. All right. Well, okay, the first agenda I have written down here is the Club World Cash Grab agenda strengthened.
Yeah.
That's the Club World Cash Grab has been an agenda before the Sounders protest.
I love that they took the bit and ran with it, though. Yeah, that's actually
they
so
went
fire.
out there and they did a bit. They did a bit.
There was also
it got a lot of attention.
I have to say, in the locker room post game, there was one folded Club World Cash Grab shirt just sitting there. Like, and all of the media members were just staring at it like,
we could take
we could just put that on right now. Anyway, we would have never done that. I would personally never do that. That's like big no would never do that, but I just thought it was funny.
You can't not go through your head.
You can't be like, okay, that's like a sick ass shirt. Like, I want one. It's I wanted to buy one less than I wanted to take one. That's where it's at.
Anyway, I thought it was funny that like as soon as it came out that they were wearing those shirts, there was people like who made their own versions of it and were already selling it. So they were doing a cash grab.
They were doing a literal
the shirt that was protesting the cash grab. That was good. All right, let's talk about the Jesus Ferreira can't play the 9 agenda, because I think you can't come to any conclusion other than it got weakened in the San Diego game.
Even if the goal didn't count, it went in, and so like it at least was a little bit diminished.
I think we have a couple of little data points now of him at least being more effective and now scoring a goal playing up there. Yeah. Like I thought in the what was the first game? Oh God,
was it the Dallas game? The Dallas game. He like scrambled and should have scored that one.
Yeah, and he also had a header in that game that was pretty close.
Yep.
So that was like a little bit of progress. And then in the San Diego game, he breaks through with the goal, which I just loved that goal because that was FC Dallas Jesus Ferreira. That was the guy who I was expecting to see this whole time. The guy that I was telling people when they made this trade, I was like, this guy does some he scores some really cool goals. Because he's not like he's not a player whose game is based on like physical traits and athleticism. He's a slighter guy, and he's fast. He's got pace, but he's more of a cerebral. Like, I'm going to get my goals by IQ and like outsmarting you. And that's exactly what he did on that play. The low cross from Rothrock, and then the touch he takes to kind of put the defender in a spot where he's really, I feel like the CB on that play, like kind of did everything that he could have done, but the touch was just so good. And then the execution on the shot was just inch perfect. So I just love to see that he got on the score sheet, but also the manner in which he did it was just vintage Jesus Ferreira. And hopefully it's a sign of things to come. But you can't score your second one until you score your first. So that's out of the way. And I think there's also the psychological component of it. I think the longer you go without scoring a goal as an attacking player, especially on a new team, the more it has the chance to get into your head, right? So I think it honestly felt like there was a little bit of that starting to seep in with how long the scoreless drought has gone. So that's over. And I'm not saying that he should start at the number 9 in any situation where Danny Musovski or Jordan Morris are available. But I do think that he showed enough over this last week of games that I feel like if there is a situation where he has to do it again, I wouldn't feel terrible about it. I would be fine giving him the run there, and you're not in a situation where it feels like you're doing that and it's totally chalked, which that's progress from where things stood with it as recently as like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, that goal was pretty sick.
Yeah, it was
like
great.
that goal was pretty sick. And like if cool goals count, that is trademarked by Happyfoot Sadfoot, but cool goals do count. And I think extra so when like you haven't scored and you score an absolute banger. That pass from Rothrock was awesome. Everything about it was great. And
the whole sequence, the first ball from Alex rolled on to put Rothrock in, then Rothrock with the classic service from out wide, fantastic touch by Ferreira, perfectly executed shot. You can't do it up much better than that one.
You can't at all. So I mean, I don't know. I don't think that there's any world in which anyone's thinking, oh, we need to start this guy as the number 9 going forward. But I think he's settling. He's settling. And I think his celebration even showed that, like just wiping off the cobwebs, man. Like I thought that was great. And also him and his partner just had a baby. So that means new baby bump.
That was also part of the celebration. It was like a multifaceted celebration. He brushed himself off. He did the
he said, "Rip me out the plastic because I'm acting brand new."
The fist pumps, and then the baby with the suck in the thumb. Yeah, so it was a great goal, great celebration.
No one clipped
and
this.
I think an encouraging sign that Jesus Ferreira can function as the number 9 for this team,
or just score
if need be, just score a goal.
Score.
Exactly.
Like I like he could play the 10 and score. Like he could play the winger. Like whatever. Like he's got that off of his brain, and I think what a perfect way to do it than like a highly like you were saying, like a highly technical, high degree of difficulty. Ready for this? Sorry, low XG goal.
I would be interested to see the XG on that one, because the defender was right there, but it was from inside the box from relatively close
I don't know
range.
how they calculate that bullshit, Ari. I don't. I thought I was trying to be. I was trying to give credence. I was trying to olive branch it, but God forbid. God forbid. Should I hit this next agenda for us? So the free Stu Hawkins agenda, Ari. We've been pushing this agenda. We've been believing that, well, some skeptics may think that Stu Hawkins is undersized. Stu Hawkins is not ready for the show. We were like, no, what? I think you got to play him. I think he's good enough.
Yeah, we just wanted to see it.
And we've seen it. And I think he's played pretty damn well. He locked up. He pocketed a Mexican national team legend, Chucky Lozano. Was not able to do anything against this guy.
He was out there for like most of the game because Kim Ki-hee got hurt pretty early in the first half, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
So yeah, he was out there in the second half after Chucky subbed on. Stu Hawks was out there battling against Chucky Lozano. That was awesome to watch.
He got a match ball too from that.
He got a match ball. They shouted him out in the post-game locker room. And Stu Hawks is in the MLS rotation, it seems, which that's, like you said, we've been on that. We've been saying free Stu Hawks for a while. And I think we're seeing positive early returns. Like from the minutes he's gotten so far, like I really like what I've seen. And I think that's just it's good to know that, especially with all the CB injuries that you have right now, that you can put Stu Hawks in a game and the level is not necessarily gonna drop. He can not only hold his own but excel in some of these situations.
I thought some of his progressive passing was really good. His passing is good.
I didn't know that he had that much in his bag, but
he had that really nice like long pass, and I was like, Jackson?
Yeah.
Jackson, are you back on the field?
Yeah, no, exactly. So, this agenda is very much strengthened, and he's probably going to have to. Kim Ki-hee and Ymar are still out. So, I mean, you're going to get John Bell and Jackson Reagan in Vancouver, but if one of them subs out, Stu Hawks is the first man up, and I feel great about that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm pros, play the kids. Play the kids. My next agenda here, Jackson Reagan wingback agenda. I just wanted to hit on this because I thought it was funny. Please, Brian. It was a good bit, but I don't think he's built for that.
I just, I feel like Schmetz explained it, but I don't exactly remember like there was some impetus.
There was something.
For it. It might have made sense. It might have made sense. I've tried to learn from the time that I crashed out about Georgie playing the 9. And then, after I cooled down and thought about it, I was like, you know what, that, I can see why he did it. So, I'm trying
Sometimes
to.
you just gotta try shit. I'm pro trying shit.
Exactly. Like if it's just like we think we see something on film, or we're kind of in like a situation with the personnel, we're just trying some random shit like that.
Yeah,
we think it might hit. I'm trying to be cool with it, even if it doesn't work out, because we also often argue the opposite thing. Like when something's not working, like we always say, oh, we'll just try this. Like this might work. Why not just give it a shot? So I don't like to do both things where I say, just try it. And then when he does just try random stuff, then I also get mad about that. Like I think this falls in that category.
Yeah. I mean,
but it didn't, it didn't look that hot.
It's a careful what you wish for situation. Cause I did at one point advocate for a Rothrock at the 9 agenda. And then we saw it twice and I was like, I don't know,
but it's fine. It's fine that he tried it. It's fine that he tried it.
He did it, and Brian. That's why I love you.
Brian.
Cook, please. I was a let Russ cook guy. So I stand by it. And I stand by it. So let Brian cook. The start KKR agenda. Okay, I want to lay out.
This is an interesting one.
I want to lay out why. Now, I actually don't know if I completely agree with it, but like I want to stir the pot a little bit. I love Alex Roldan. I have been an evangelist for Alex Roldan.
You have.
I think he is an incredible player, and I think that he brings so much to this team in so many ways that people don't respect.
Underrated, yeah, underrated.
And for me, KKR brings something very different. He is like a bolt of lightning on the field, dude. I have never seen someone run harder, work harder, get into space, get up and down the field like crazy.
Wait. I have seen one person, Christian Roldan.
He is, yes.
I'm seeing that comp more and more.
Like he is
not just the UW thing, the style.
No, it's exactly it. It's like he's got the same build too. He's like he'll body people off the ball like Christian. Like it's very clear that I think him and Christian kind of have
They're
a
like
good
kindred spirits.
Yeah, it's awesome. But I love the attacking prowess that he brings, dude. Like the way he's able to get the ball up the field in a way that Alex truly isn't. Like, I think that maybe KKR leaves you a little bit more risky on defense, but what he brings going forward is second to none, man. I mean, that goal, we want to talk about Moose's hold-up play. His hold-up play on that was awesome. He parked his ass in the perfect place in the box, knowing full well where Pedro was going to go, because I know they trained that, right? Parked his ass in the box, and what a finish. What a finish. Yeah. I mean, how many times have we seen Jesus Ferreira shoot that right at the goalkeeper?
It was a good goal. It was a
and
good goal,
KKR
and it was
gets
his
that.
second goal of the season.
Yeah.
He
only scores bangers, I think.
he's playing great right now, and the stardom agenda is I like it, but it's just tough because I don't know. I like what they've got going on at the position right now. It really feels like Alex Roldan and KKR have been pushing each other.
Yeah.
They've been making each other better. I think there was a very clear like Alex raising his game when he kind of felt that KKR was pushing him, and that made him play better. And KKR kind of super hungry because he's just breaking in and realizing that like I can be a starter for one of the biggest teams in MLS after
I think him and Rothrock are boys too. So
yeah, like not even having a guarantee that I'm going to make the first team, being the last guy cut last year, and now I actually am like on the precipice of being like a major contributor
MLS goals, man.
to this team, 2 MLS goals. So I think that's made him elevate his game, and it's created a good situation, I think, at that position where they're pushing each other and they're both playing at a level where honestly whatever one of them is starting a given game, I feel great about it. But
that's actually the perfect like situation.
That's what you want.
That's what you want.
Theoretically what you want at every position. And I think what they've got going on at right back has really embodied it. But I do, it's hard to watch KKR play and not love the extra dynamism that he brings in attack, specifically as a goal dangerous player as he is.
Yeah.
Alex Roldan he's a good attacking fullback. Like he can get forward and his wide service is pretty good. But KKR, it's almost like having like a pure winger as your
it's
right
like
back.
having Rothrock as your right back, almost.
Which like Rothrock as a wing back is
it plays,
and it is a little similar to that. But it definitely is a different dynamic. So like, yeah, I guess I don't really mind them just starting whoever based on matchup or fitness. You got 2 starting caliber right backs. It's great.
It's tight. I think also it's just a good story, and it's 2 Seattle guys. I know Roldan's both the Roldans are Seattle adopted. I think
KKR is Seattle adopted as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't he from California too?
Yeah, he's from California. Yeah, so we just be adopting people. So
yeah.
And then I wanted to close this one out because of a recent goal that he scored against FC Dallas, a game-winning goal, mind you, Ari. Albert Rusnak is a great DP signing, and
ooh, this is gonna be popular.
And he is putting together an MVP caliber season.
Ooh, this is gonna be really unpopular. I like it.
Albert Rusnak is currently at 7 goals, 3 assists in Major League Soccer with 12 started matches, 16 matches total. So about 1,000 minutes. He is week in and week out on the top 11 for Major League Soccer in their little, either he's on the bench or he's in the starting lineup.
Team of the week, yeah.
Team of the week, correct.
Or team of the match day.
Yeah, team of the yeah, well, and I think that he is going to be in the consideration for Player of the Year. And that's my take. MVP. And I think he's putting together a season that is proving not only me wrong, because I was skeptical about re-signing him, but I think a lot of the Rusnak arguments, they're falling flat on their face every single week. And I think it's also there's a catalyst of the national pundits are starting to talk about this too.
Yeah, like that. I think that when we're talking about stuff like the MVP conversation, that's the most important part of that actually happening is when you start to get the national recognition, and the national pundits are like, he's underrated. You love that. You love to hear that because those national pundits love to
pick someone like that. They're like, oh, I'm different.
Right. I'm like he's kind of like the
he's the
if you
hipster
know
pick.
if you know ball.
Yeah, if you know ball guy,
It's
yeah.
actually Rusnak. Yeah.
Which like vindicated for us, bro. Like vindicated as hell for us.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad that they brought him back. I think he's playing great this year. He just had a stretch where he scored 5 goals in 5 games. So that's what you want out of your DP. And, he's not the flashiest name and he doesn't have the flashiest game. So I don't know if he'll break through for the MVP stuff like some of the bigger, more flashier names in the league. But I do think that there's a decent chance that he ends up putting up a real crooked stat line this year, like even more so than last year, which, I mean, people forget that he had 10 and 16 last year, which is...
That's good, man.
That's really good. That's like, if any other player came in and did that for Seattle as a DP, people would be like, oh, this guy's awesome. You know?
Yeah.
So
he's what, 30 and 30 for multiple teams or whatever?
25
and 25, yeah.
Yeah, for both Real Salt Lake and Seattle. So we'll see if more national recognition starts to arrive.
Percolate.
Starts to percolate. Yeah. That would be cool, but really as long as he is running the offense at a high level week in, week out, getting goals, getting assists, I'm happy with him as a DP. That's all I care about. Are there flashier players in the league? Sure. But as long as the production is there and he's a good team player, which by all accounts he is, keep him as a DP. I'm fine with it.
DP snack. He's a snack. He's a snack.
All right. We're going to take another ad break. We're going to come back and talk about the Vancouver Whitecaps. We'll be right back.
There is nothing quite like a match day in Seattle. The flags waving, the drums pounding, the crowd surging as the team takes the pitch at Lumen Field. You want to be there. I want to be there. So how do you get there? By visiting lobbingscorchers.com/tickets, you'll be taken directly to Ticketmaster where you can buy tickets directly from the club themselves. You don't have to worry about a secondhand marketplace or any of that weirdness. Just tickets, super simple, right to your phone. lobbingscorchers.com/tickets.
We're white cap because we're right back. Because we just came.
I see. All right.
We just came back, and you'll be Vancouver if you skipped our ads.
All right. I
Was
think
that
actually,
is that like? Did I click
I
on
thought
that?
it was going to go off the rails a couple times there, but you brought it back around. Let's talk about the Vancouver Whitecaps, Seattle's next opponent that they play at BC Place on Sunday. We're going to be making the trip. It's going to be fun.
My first time at BC Place.
Noah's first time. Wow, that's your first time at Providence and your first time at BC Place.
I never used to go to away matches ever.
It's a fun place to watch a game. I really like the city of Vancouver, so
I do
I'm
love
excited
the city.
to go back. And the Whitecaps are an interesting little case study at this exact moment in time that they'll be playing the Seattle Sounders. If you asked me about this matchup even like a week or two ago, when I also didn't know about the international absences or just kind of forgot, I guess, that they were going to have around this time, I would have told you that the Sounders are about as heavy an underdog as it gets against an MLS team, like with how the Whitecaps were playing for all of this year and in CONCACAF Champions Cup. They've been far and away, without question, the best team in the league this year. Both in terms of the soccer that they've played and their record and points total and the goals that they're scoring. So that is that would make you think again that Seattle would be the underdog, but they're coming into this wounded, Noah. They went on this incredible CONCACAF Champions Cup run, where they made the final while also playing at 2.3 points per game in league play. And I think we praised them a lot on this show, deservedly.
We said this was a Whitecaps podcast.
Yeah, they kind of became the bit was like it was the Galaxy of last year. We were the Galaxy podcast because we liked watching the Triple Ps. This year we were really enjoying what the Whitecaps were doing. They were doing
Baby
it without
Berhalter,
Scottish Messi. Baby Berhalter is still the best number 8 in the league.
True.
So I wouldn't not necessarily have liked Seattle's chances in this game, basically at any other juncture in the season. However, they are coming off a CONCACAF Champions Cup final at Cruz Azul. That was just a debacle. Like I felt pretty confident that I don't know if I was confident that they were like for sure going to beat Cruz Azul, but I was confident that they were going to make a good run at it.
Yeah.
And they might not win it, but there was no part of me that expected that game to be like abjectly non-competitive.
You didn't think they were going to Inter Milan it?
No. I thought they were going to at least I was sure they were going to at least make a run at it based on what I'd seen from them all season. And, Berhalter was suspended on some CONCACAF bullshit for this game.
You did say that if they lost, you were going to claim that was the reason.
And
I think that's fair that we've got to follow through on that.
I'm still going to be a purveyor of that agenda. But the thing is, like, they lost that so bad that I don't even know if I can credibly argue that. It was from like the first minute of the game. They gave up the first goal in like the 7th minute, but they basically got rolled from minute 1 to minute 90 in a way that I don't think anyone was expecting. I think most people probably thought Cruz Azul was going to win the game, but based on how the Whitecaps had played this year, I don't think anyone thought that was going to be how that game went. I didn't even know what to make of it while I was watching it. But by the end of it, it seemed pretty clear that they were just not like ready for a moment like that. That only happens. That's not the 5-0. I don't think was illustrative of the gap in actual quality between the two teams. I think it was illustrative of one team that has a lot of big game experience and has played in a lot of moments like that and was ready for everything that comes with that. And one team that just wasn't any of those things. And they ran off the field in a way that, like, part of me feels like, all right, one game shouldn't discount the entire season of elite soccer that they've played. And I fully expect them, despite what happened in that game, to end up playing at a level closer to the team that we've seen for most of the season, more than the team that we saw in that game. But there's also part of me that's like, that was so demoralizing that if there's a type of loss that can like damage your morale, I don't know about permanently, but like just substantially for the foreseeable future, that's the type of loss that can do that. So you have the Sounders playing a team who's playing their first game since then, and I think in that situation there's two things that can happen. Number one, the Whitecaps use that as like motivation to, like go out there and show that they're actually the best team in MLS and that wasn't a fluke run, and that what was the fluke was the CCC final, and they're going to go out there and prove that and like kick the ass of the next team that they play to show that. Or they could be like permanently psychologically damaged by that.
And we've seen it before. That happens.
That does happen, and also CCC hangovers happen. So you combine those two things, and I honestly don't know what to expect from this Whitecaps team, not just in this game, but for the rest of the year. And when you combine all of that with the fact that I think they're going to be missing 9 players for national team duty, you have a situation where I'm not saying like I fully expect Seattle to go in and take all 3 points easily, but I think a win in this game is attainable.
It's important. It's important to win this game. It's momentum. It's momentum into Club World Cup, and also you have to beat the first team in the West if you want to have a chance to slide up.
And you're never going to have a better opportunity.
No, you got
to
to hit the wounded animal, man.
You're never going to have a better opportunity to get these guys. They are. They're demoralized. They just sacrificed an opportunity at MLS immortality, they would have joined Seattle.
Listen, not everyone can do it, Ari.
Not everyone can do it.
It's famously hard. They had a harder path though. So
that is there was that discourse flying around before they had even played the game. I think we were both trying to say, let them actually win it before you start talking about how their path was harder than Seattle's.
You hear us, MLS season pass? But, let us on your show.
They dished those takes, and then the Caps ended up getting blown out. So, no, I mean, I think Seattle actually has a great chance to win this game. It's definitely not a given, going on the road at a Cascadia rival against a team that I feel like they're still going to be able to put out a solid lineup, but I don't even know how they're going to be lining up with all the guys that they have missing. Yeah. So really, like, this is a big opportunity for the Sounders, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it feels like the right time to have a 5-0 game. Like, demoralize them even more. Like, this is potentially a chance the Sounders have to put the nail in the coffin of a rival's season. We've seen the Caps do this before. Do you remember last season when they came out to this blazing hot start and just like we're going crazy and everyone was like, holy shit, it's the Whitecaps. Different coach, different circumstance. I think that this is a way better coached team and a way more like better built team. Like, everyone's kind of coming into their own right now. But the reality is, man, like, CCC hangover is real. CCC demoralization is real. They played a lot of minutes in a lot of games and got a lot of points. And this is when the exhaustion starts to kick in.
Right now.
And the fact that all of their best players are going to be playing in Gold Cup games.
Berhalter's not going to be there. Brian White's not going to be there. 7 other guys aren't going to be there.
Like it's going to be tough, and God only knows what's going to happen in the Gold Cup. Like, who knows if they take knocks, or that's just more games. You know what I'm saying? And I fear for the Whitecaps. I hope that they can keep it up. I think that's a good story. I like having, an interesting Whitecaps team. I think that's fun. But it
had been a fun little subplot this year.
Yeah. But also, like, it'd be tight if we won Cascadia Cup this year.
Yeah.
So, like, it's a chance for the Sounders to win some hardware. I know that people will be like, well, that's not real. Yeah, it's not real, but it's fun.
I like the Cascadia Cup. It's not like it's not the most important trophy of all time, but it's a fun little thing. They could pick up some ground in those standings, but I think mostly it's just you got to capitalize on the opportunity presented by playing the team that's top of the West table and up near the top of the Supporter Shield standings, but in this weakened state. This is their first game after that CCC crash out, and they're going to be missing 9 guys. So like, that is just when you have an opportunity like that, you got to take advantage of it. If they draw this game, I wouldn't crash out about it, but I would be a little disappointed. And if they lose, I think it's a pretty big letdown considering the circumstances that they're getting this team under. Like, you got to go take advantage of this.
Listen, Ari, we are currently tied with Vancouver for most Cascadia Cups. 7. We both have 7. We need that 8th. And if we win this game, we go to the top of the standings for Cascadia Cup. So this is a must-win tournament game, Ari. This is a must-win tournament game in the city of Vancouver at BC Place. I don't know why I was getting so excited.
Tournament game?
Yeah, I don't know. Cup game? Whatever.
Oh, okay. So it's like a playoff.
Yeah,
like
I was doing a bit. I was doing like a, like this is the biggest game we've ever played.
Oh, okay. But the
thing.
Cascadia Cup is kind of a tournament.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's like what's the interleague tournament for NBA? Do you know?
The NBA Cup?
Yeah, whatever they call it.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. We're rambling at this point, but Vancouver, what are your predictions? You think there's going to be a win? Do you think it's going to be a draw? I think it's going to be a win. I think you said if it's a draw, you're fine with it. I think if it's a draw against this Cap side, I
said I would be disappointed. Didn't I say that?
Oh, I guess so. Yeah, sorry.
I said if it was a draw, I would be disappointed, and a win and a loss would be like a pretty big letdown.
Yeah, okay. Then we're on the same page.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I hate predicting wins.
Well, yeah,
but
we don't have to,
But
like,
this should they should win this game. They should win this
On
game
paper.
Yeah, and like I would not like be saying that if this was the Caps of earlier this season. Not at all. Like they were playing at an insane level.
I'd be like, hell yeah, get that Road Point Kings.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a totally different calculation with their team under these circumstances. Like this is a game that you should win.
Yep. I think
All right.
I think
Yeah,
we did it.
I think that's it.
I think we did it,
I
Ari.
think we're going to call it right there for this episode of Lobbing Scorchers. We had our protest coverage. We had our agenda check, homestand, preview in Vancouver. So great show. Great to be back doing the more conventional pod.
I know we took a break for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, we've been fucking streaming our asses off. So,
and that's a good plug. Thursday nights, Under the Lights with Ari. Monday mornings with Nico and Ari on kickoff. We're gonna have the new vlog from the Portland game is dropping soon.
Excited
we'll have a
for that.
vlog from Vancouver. We have post-match in Vancouver. I'm sure we will do some sort of stream. Maybe we can stream from the stadium.
yeah, let's
That could
try
be
and
cool.
do that. We'll
We
see
will
if we
try
can
and
do
do that.
I'm
If
not going
not-
to promise that.
If
but
not,
we'll-
always Sunday mornings after. Well, I guess it would be a Monday morning. Wait, Monday morning.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, but you'll be streaming with the. We'll figure it out. Don't you guys worry. We'll sort it all out. But that's all to say. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube, youtube.com/@LobbingScorchers, or if you're watching the video, hit the subscribe button. We want you to see all of those live streams.
Like, comment, subscribe, rate 5 stars.
Yeah. Also, we had a
sub to the channel.
we had a crash out in the ratings, so please rate us 5 stars to offset that.
We did get a
Thank
1
you.
star, but honestly, I'm not mad about it. It was pretty funny.
It was a
But
good
yeah,
bit. Someone called me an idiot.
give
I
us
appreciate it.
give us a 5 star to counteract the 1 star. I think that's it.
Yep.
Sub to the YouTube. Follow us on Instagram.
Okay.
Until then, we'll catch you next time.
Peace.